support this program and to help New Stripe City raise funds for this channel. Who dey? New Stripe City community, I am glad to announce that I am a proud partner with Fanatics, an NFL officially licensed merchandising company. What does this mean? This means that you can get any kind of apparel, legit hats, draft hats, jerseys. This AJ Green jersey is $59.99 right now. Check it out. All you have to do to support the channel and to support me is to look at the links in the description that I post. Click on them. Once you go and open a new page, it'll bring up that specific item. All you have to do is purchase the item. Like this AJ Green $59.99 Color Rush jersey. It's a lick and it's real. It's real. It's legit. So all you have to do is go through that, check out, make your purchase, and you will be helping out New Stripe City. New Stripe City is also partnered with Amazon as well. So check out the links in the bio with the Joe Exotic shirt. Get you some cool stuff, especially with the draft coming up. You got to be fresh, right? We got to be fresh for this draft. So check out the Tiger King inspired Joe Burrow, Joe Exotic shirt. Link is in the bio. All you have to do is click my link, make your purchase, and you help grow this channel of New Stripe City. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. Please be sure to like and subscribe on all of these videos. And today we are going to be discussing the 2020 NFL Draft offensive line and offensive tackle position in the prime rankings for them. If you're not familiar with prime, it simply is based off the draft history of the Bengals and characteristics that make these prospects more attractive to the Bengals. So now we're moving on to the offensive tackles. I know that you guys have been eager to see these rankings, as have I. It starts out with Andrew Thomas near the top here. No surprise with Andrew Thomas being the number one guy there at 4.29. And this is according to the actual prime as well as the ascending round. So if we were to look at just the straight up prime itself, it's actually going to be a 7th rounder. But if we're looking in the first round, Jedrick Wills is also there as well. So Jedrick Wills could actually be potentially an issue there for them. So if the Bengals have those guys both rated as first round and not first round top 10, then that could mean that they could go with Jedrick Wills over the Andrew Thomas. But as of now, since we're doing it that way, we're going to go with Andrew Thomas. And Andrew Thomas is a really intriguing prospect for them because he comes from a conference that the Bengals have familiarity with in the SEC. Obviously, they've selected so many players out of Georgia, Geno Atkins amongst others. But you also look at his height, his weight. He really fits the mold of what they look for in an offensive tackle. And then you also look at the hand size. The arm length isn't where it should be in terms of what they traditionally go with. And when you look at his age, he's somewhat younger. But outside of that, this guy really checks the boxes for them, especially in the productivity department. He was extremely productive. Now, something that separates Andrew Thomas from Jedrick Wills is simply just the NFL draft grade. So that could be something that gives him the edge there. But then when we kind of move along, you also have Tristan Wirfs. That's another guy expected to go in the top 10. He only has a prime grade of 4.07. Mostly attributed to his age as well as his consistency. He wasn't as consistent as some of these other guys that traditionally have scored higher. When it comes to Mekhi Becton, though, he's not what they usually look for weight-wise in a tackle. So that could be a potential issue for him there, as well as when you look at the BMI. The BMI for him is just not where it should be. Arm length is an issue. You also look at the age. So these are all factors that kind of push Mekhi Becton down, whereas some people have seen Mekhi Becton as somewhat of a rising prospect, but he is extremely low on prime at a 3.57. And that doesn't mean that the Bengals won't draft him. That means if he's the highest rated guy on their board at the offensive tackle position, they still could draft him. But they may prefer to pick a guy like Austin Jackson, who may be there as well. So something to know about this. When we talk about Ezra Cleveland, things that hurt Ezra Cleveland are the conference that he comes from. Bengals have never drafted anyone from that conference. You also talk about the 40 time, the hand size. Those are things that weigh negatively for Ezra. You also talk about the arm length. Although it's not a disaster, it's not near what they typically go with, but they have gone with guys with that arm length in the past, but still solid. Wasn't able to get an age on him. So if you do know how old he is, feel free to drop that in the comments. But as we can see, Ezra grades out at a 3.54. And then you move on to some other guys like Jack Skully, he's really high on prime. You got the 4.36 there. You look at the height, the weight, the BMI, it's all perfect. The 40-yard dash is perfect. The arm length is right around where it should be. Age is near where it should be. So when you look at that from that aspect, he is a very solid option for them. One of my favorites, not really the draft community's favorites, is Austin Jackson. And that's probably because I haven't watched the necessary film on him. He's not someone that I would reach for, but I think that he's a guy that has some tools, and I feel like you can develop him. And that's why I really like him, because when you look at his size, his BMI, his 40, his hand size, arm length, he's got it, right? His age isn't where it should be, which means that, he still has some room for growth in that area. And I still feel like he can learn some things. But the thing that is the biggest red flag about him is his consistency. It's really not there. So I understand why most Bengals fans do not like this guy. And so definitely someone that would be attracted to the Bengals, but just know that you're getting a guy that hasn't been the most consistent, but he does have some potential. And I think when you're looking at a guy in the third round, that is what you're looking for. So obviously I feel like the Bengals need to go and get a guy in the second round. So if I were weighing between the two, I would definitely go with the more solid established guy in terms of that. Another guy that Prime really likes, Lucas Niang, out of TCU, 4.38 grade there. And Niang, I think, has been rising a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see him possibly go before the fourth round, but tremendous size. This is a guy that comes from a school and conference that the Bengals are comfortable with. His hand size is good. Arm length is good. His age, though, is another restriction. So the Bengals seem to really be stubborn when it comes to age, but we'll have to see. They have went away from that in recent years with guys like Joe Mixon and Andrew Billings in terms of what they typically do. So that's something to keep an eye out for. And then we also have Isiah Wilson. The only thing about Isiah Wilson is they do not like that weight that he is at. So that weight and that arm length are really two sore spots for him. And that is why he is at a 3.92. So these are all out of a score of 5. So that kind of lets you know where these guys land at. So with that being said, please be sure to let me know in the comments who you guys think the Bengals should pick as an offensive tackle. Clearly, this is a guy that's going to be protecting Joe Burrow. Would love to hear in the comments what you guys think. And as usual, I will leave you guys with a who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.